is 7 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon, so you know what time it is. It is time for your weekly episode of Look Around the Confederation, where we will never, ever fix our intro. I'm your host for the evening, Moose. And before we get started, please remember, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor any divisions, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. How is everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We have a nice episode planned for you here today. We got a legend of our organization behind the scenes, and why he cannot defend himself, I'm going to I'm going to mess with him a bit. We got past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael coming on soon to talk about a monument rededication where history awaits you. This might be one of my favorite taglines for an event that's ever got sent in. Good evening. We have the Ric Flair of the SCV, past Commander-in-Chief Paul Gremlin Jr. in the chat. We have Mr. Sean in the chat from Look Around Florida. Christian Lee, our brothers over at ACG Chat. Corey's in the chat. Mr. Allen's in the chat. Good to see everybody. We're going to quickly go over the news, and then we're going to bring our guest on who has some news from the Louisiana division he would like to announce. And I think a bit other things, and then we'll go into the main juicy story for tonight. We have our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kendi, in the chat. We have Todd Owens in the chat. Good to see you, Todd. Good to see everybody. So we will get into the news really quickly. Billy, how are you? And we will get started. And remember, everybody, you can be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. If you have a camp or division project you'd like to talk about live, please email me at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com. And for your news, please send your pictures, short videos, and short write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you will be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. And, of course, if you send us in a nice poster, we will even post your event on our Facebook page after Look Around the Confederation ends. So, without further ado, let us get into the news. Has anybody seen Cousin Vinny in the chat? I forgot to shoot him a message today, but if he's not in the chat, that's fine. We will come back to it when he does. First bit of news is a Lee Jackson banquet. Let me get to that part. The Captain J.J. Dickerson Camp, 1387's Lee Jackson Southern Heritage Celebration will be on January 7th at 6 p.m. in Florida. And it might actually be pretty close to me. I might see if I can try to make it. Their special guest will be our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears. Lee Jackson banquets are always fun. I don't think I've ever seen a bad one. I've always enjoyed myself at them, and to support these events. Please go support them. And again, a Lee Jackson banquet. Whew, I can't tell you how many more better than those. Those are usually a knockout of the ballpark. We have a president of the chapter of the Shreveport UDC in the chat. Oh, ma'am, how are you? Mr. Sean will be at that event. That means, Mr. Sean, you're going to be taking pictures for me, I hope. Let's see, next bit of news. Morgan on the Rim reenactment will be on October 28th, the 29th, and the 30th in Tennessee. School day will be Friday. Free for all students from 1 to 4:30 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. There will be demonstrations, cavalry, infantry, and artillery from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Battles will be on Saturday and Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Enjoy foods of all kinds and activities, including appeared photography, talking with the soldiers and civilians, and seeing and handling the equipment and going to settlers. Again, I like a good reenactment. With my current college lifestyle, I don't seem to get to go to a lot of them. Oh, Miss Linda's in the chat. I have to take the moment to say, Miss Linda, I love you. I miss you too. Let's all give a round of applause for Miss Linda. We're happy to have Gigi back in the chat. We have surely missed you. So thank you. Next bit of news will actually be a reenactment I'm going to this weekend. Fall Muster, the last home of our only president, Jeff Davis, will be held on October 15th and 16th. And battles will be on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. There will be a ladies' tea on Saturday at 10 a.m. open to the public. If you wear a period dress, we encourage you to wear it. There will be period vendors, music provided by the 5th Alabama Regimental Band, drills, skirmishes, living history camp, expositions, and so much more. This is fun for the whole family and truly something you don't want to miss. It is the biggest fundraiser for Beauvoir, again, the last home of the only president of the Confederacy, and Jeff Davis, who we claim in Mississippi as one. So, make sure if you can support this event to support the event. Beauvoir is a beautiful property, and this is a great event. If you can only go down to one Beauvoir event a year, this one would be the one I encourage you to do. And of course, if you want to reenact it, it's also a great time to reenact. Let's see here. Jason says my Wi-Fi is a potato. I'll have to agree with you on that. Sometimes it gets tricky over here in Mississippi. All right, next bit of news. All right, got something from our past guest, Mr. Richard Garcia. Let's see here. The Gainesboro Invincibles Camp 1685 had a CERT training program at Gainesboro Historical Cemetery. The camp has been cleaning tombstones for 2 years now, and the city approved for them to clean the entire cemetery. They did a lot of great work there. Participants there were Leo Denny, David C. Linda Daniels, Sharia Ball, Miss Dottie Meadows, the Tennessee OCR president, Timothy Garcia, Mr. Richard Garcia, and OCR Aunt Polly's Heritage Rose Chapter 10 in the UDC Chapter 91. Always good to see a CERT program. Here's another picture. Good to learn how to clean these, our monuments, our headstones, with the chemicals that won't hurt it and keeps it looking almost brand new. So if you can have a time to look at doing a CERT program, please do it. And once you get CERT certified, guess what? You can go out and teach others. I'm CERT certified, and I have a great time going out there and cleaning headstones with my camp, or monuments with my father. So I have a great time doing it. So make sure you can, if you have an event going on, to go support it. All right, now I believe our last bit of news, we'll do our sponsor break and bring on the legend, the Lone Ranger, Pastor Chief Chuck McMichael. I'm looking forward to Fall Muster 2. So your last bit of news. All right. The Samuel H. Poe Camp number 255 held our annual fall turkey shoot fundraiser event this past weekend. The event was a success and a good time was had by all. A huge thank you to everybody who helped contribute and participated in the event. A special thanks to our camp historian Larry Dale Tyner and his wife for hosting the event, and we hope to see everybody at our spring turkey shoot. I'm a little biased on this one, mainly because it's my camp fundraising event, but I had a great time. If you want to go out there, shoot some shotguns, go out there, have a good time, and be around some good people and visit, then that's the event for you, and we hope to see you in the spring. All right, that was our last bit of news for the evening. So we will go into our sponsor and then go into tonight's main event of the evening. I wonder if I'll get copyrighted for that. There's a 50-50 shot. Remember that tonight's sponsor is Southern Flags and Quilts. Southern Flags and Quilts is a Southern company that makes historically accurate flags. Link is in the chat to go support them. So again, you're not supporting someone from the North. You're not supporting someone from another country. You're supporting a fellow Southerner that is making some great quality flags. I mean, first off, let's look at these flags. There's just some great flags here. We got one. We got a Louisiana one. We got a Forest one. Got a Tennessee one. And we got a Metcalf one here that looks nice. We got this one, and this one. So you can see that she makes some great quality flags. And she does a fantastic job. She made something for us, which we'll be hoping to show you next week during the 100th episode special week. So make sure to tune in next week to see what she made for us. All of these are great flags. And so again, please go support our sponsor, Southern Flags and Quilts. And thank them for sponsoring us. And maybe go get you a flag yourself. Mr. Ross asked for prayers for his wife. She's having surgery on Monday. We will be praying for her, Mr. Ross. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And now, of the evening, the Lone Ranger, the man that is known around the Confederation, Past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael. Chuck McMichael.
Good evening. You said you were going to pick me when I wasn't on the air. I didn't hear anything bad.
Oh, I thought about it, and then I realized that I'd be seeing you in a couple weeks, and so for my own safety, all hail Hank.
Hank is here in the chat.
Hank is in the chat.
Yeah. All right, go over there. Be good. Don't eat my lamp.
Oh, Dick Nabbit, I wish I could have brung General McMoose.
You don't keep him with you all the time?
No, he went on vacation after reunion. We haven't really seen him then. I think Thomas Franklin has.
I was on here last. You've actually been in this room. And so you saw where Hank is generally posed right here by the desk.
He's a great compatriot to you when you are working. My father said, "Greetings, Hank," and oh yeah, hi to you too, Commander.
Well, I appreciate the ranking of the social scale there. It's appropriate.
Well, it's Hank, Commander-in-Chief.
Before we go any further, I would like to point out, howdy, Paul, brother Sneck. I don't know if you know the Sneck story. I'll tell you that sometime. Louisiana, that's our salute. It's called the Fanger. And I would also like to say, you mentioned her earlier, but Pam Maddox is in the chat. She is the president of UDC here in Shreveport. It's her and I that are working together so much on the monument event that we're going to talk about tonight. So she's the local UDC president. And of course, essentially, this is their event that we are just helping with. So, and great to see Linda and all you other folks. And my other son, Todd, hi, y'all. And Daryl, we'll see you Saturday, hopefully. So, my announcement is the Louisiana Division is having our fall assembly this Saturday, starting at 9 o'clock at Fort Randolph State Park in Pineville, Louisiana. So if you're a member of the Louisiana Division, you might want to try to make that. What we'll have in the morning are different workshops, like for adjutants and protocols for communicating with the press, those sorts of things. And then the afternoon will be the division council meeting, which of course any member is welcome to stay for as well. So if that's not too bad, kickoff's not till 6, so most people can make the meeting and still be home for kickoff. So there you go. So that's my outside news, other than the main topic tonight.
All right.
So anything else you want before we start?
What'd you say?
So anything else before you want to start?
No, sir.
All right. Well, for those uninitiated or even new folks, the Caddo Parish Confederate Monument was placed in front of the Caddo Parish Courthouse in 1906. The courthouse that was there then. That courthouse is gone, and a new one's been built since then, I think in the 50s. So the monument really been there longer than the courthouse had. Long time, pretty bit. And there was a big legal battle. The police jury, what we now call the parish commission, voted for that land to be for the UDC to put their monument. Now, to anybody with any sense, that would mean the UDC owned the land the monument was on. So starting in the early 90s was the fight over this monument, because originally it had a flag and a flagpole on it. So at first they said, oh, we don't want the flag on there. That's all, which means, of course, they want the monument gone. So several of us, including Paul, myself, and some of the UDC, especially some of the UDC leaders, have been over the monument since the early to mid 90s. We've been fighting for the Caddo Parish Monument. Eventually the flag was taken down because they found a loophole to where the parish had actually putting up the flag. We didn't. So it was actually their flagpole. So then it went on and on and on. It gets to court. There's a citizens committee, which was ridiculous. I wasted about a year of my life on that thing, listening to all kind of garbage, which they completely ignored. And then the courts finally ruled that the parish owned the land that was under the monument, and therefore could go forward with the removal of the monument. Okay, well, here's the problem for them, and the good news for us. It was not a complete loss for us. In fact, there was parts of this, thanks to our judge advocate who served as the lawyer, Dave Nadler, who I think you met recently at the event we were at. And we won several things out of that court. One, if it was going to be moved, the parish, they had to pay to move it, not us. They not only had to pay to move it, they had to insure it against damage for $2 million. And they had to move it where the UDC told them to move it to, and put it all back together to the UDC's satisfaction. You don't see that very often. Usually they all go off to a warehouse, or it's here, come and get it, or we're going to tear it down. So the parish finally found a contractor who would do it. It's one we got out of Florida, because he had moved one for the UDC there and had pretty good recommendations. And so we were kind of happy that they got him. And the guy did an excellent job. I mean, he was very careful. Each piece that he took down, he went ahead and put it in a metal in a wooden crate, wrapped it in protective wrap and all that stuff. He didn't just throw it on a truck to haul it down there. He had it all secured and encased right there on the grounds before it made the trip to the place that was picked out to move. And so when the prep was all done before they moved any of it down there. And but this is, since the time they won the court case, it's been like 2.5, 3 years, you know, them finding the money and find the first guy that bid on it wanted $1 million, which we told them that's what it would probably cost. They ended up spending about $800,000 to move the monument. Good use of taxpayer money there. So anyway, so where to put it? Well, down just below Shreveport is where the culminating battles of the Red River Campaign took place. The Battle of Mansfield and the Battle of Pleasant Hill. There's a state park at Mansfield, which I hope you get to see when you come on the 29th, where I could show you the exact part on the highway where my great-great-grandfather in 28th Louisiana crossed the road charging up the hill, and they ran the Yankees off the hill, even though they were outnumbered. It was a great Confederate victory at the Battle of Mansfield. And they have a really nice little museum and everything there. And then further down the road is Pleasant Hill. That battlefield is privately owned, but that's where we have our annual reenactment of Pleasant Hill, which is our biggest one in this area. Takes place usually the second weekend of April, but this year's the first weekend of April because Easter's the second weekend. So battleofpleasanthill.com if you're interested. And so I got a call from one of the UDC ladies. I think it was from Jackie Nichols, who had been the president of the chapter before Margaret, she's on the chat too, by the way, Margaret is, who was the president before Pam, and said, that place down at Pleasant Hill might be a really good place to put our monument. Do you know anybody that maybe has control of that land or anything down there? And I'm like, well, it just so happens he's a member of our camp. The guy and his sister that own the land of the Battle of Pleasant Hill is a member of the Richard Taylor camp. And his dad, Dr. Poindbuff, was a longtime supporter of Confederate stuff and collector. He's got a lot of really good artifacts down there. They have the original dog trot that was used as a hospital during the battle still there on the property, and we used it during the reenactment. It's a great, great reenactment. Caitlin Calhoun, who is the head of it, does a great job, and the reenactors. It's one of these places where the reenactors, the battle committee, the SCV, everybody all works together great. And the event is really a wonderful event. So I said, yeah, I'll get you in touch with Gene. Well, they already have a little park down there by the road that goes up to their house where they have a couple little monuments and a flagpole and things like that. And that's where Dr. Poindbuff and his wife are buried. There's a little cemetery there. And then you go up the hill, there's the old town of Pleasant Hill Cemetery, because after the war, the town moved about 3 miles. So their old cemetery is there. So that's where the family gave a plot of land to the Sons of Confederate Veterans, right in front of the old Pleasant Hill Cemetery. And there are Confederate veterans buried in that cemetery. And supposedly there are bodies from both sides buried all around there from the battle itself that aren't necessarily marked. So that's that family gave us the plot, and we leased it to the UDC for one of those 99-year things for $1. I think Paul was the commander then and accepted the $1. I think he still has it. We probably need to put it up in a museum somewhere. I don't know, maybe. So we have the spot. It's a great spot. It's up on a hill. It's overlooking it's on an original battlefield. It's looking at an original battlefield. There are Confederate veterans buried there. It's a beautiful spot. Like, you have a picture of where it sits now, if you want to bring that up now, with the trees all behind. Yeah, that's where it is now. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
It's a spectacular monument. It was on the National Register, and in fact, thanks to the work of Jackie and some of the other ladies, it will retain its National Register designation, even though it's on a new spot. That's a little plaque there on the front of it that says that. So it's a gorgeous spot. So we're really planning to have a good event there for the rededication. I mean, these guys did a great job, as you can see, putting it all back together. They cleaned it beautifully. It looks almost like a brand new monument. It was done by a sculptor named Frank Teach, who eventually ended up in Texas because he bought a quarry there. And he was a very well-known sculptor there. He did a lot of Confederate monuments all across the South, as long as he's kind of up there with Moses Ezekiel, who did the Arlington Monument. They were both very well-known sculptors of monuments and memorials during the postbellum years, as the saying goes. So it's there. It's going to stay there. The people that love it have all the control over it. Nobody else has the right to it or do anything to it. In fact, the monument from the town of Minden, Louisiana, they went ahead and the UDC moved theirs down there also, but it's down by the road where the little battle park area is. So if you come, you can see a couple of different ones. There's a great marker there. There's a guy buried there named Bob Barnes. Many of our members will remember, and you may have seen, it was a big deal back in the 60s, the license plate of the old gray bearded soldier with his flag saying, "Hell no, I ain't forget." Have you ever seen that?
I think I've seen a picture when I was very young.
Bob Barnes would come to the reenactment, and he was like short little fat guy, had the big gray beard, and he would put on his uniform have his flag and carry a sign saying, "Hell no, I ain't forget." And one year, right during the battle, he keeled over dead on the battlefield. So they buried him there at the battle park, and he's got like an image of him as the old soldier on his grave and all. It's really cool to stop and see Bob Barnes, and who kept that little image alive. I guess probably got the beard. I could probably start doing that now myself. Actually, Daryl's on there. He looks a lot like that guy. Okay, Paul says that Bobby has the dollar as the division adjutant, which I mean Steve Cole will probably be getting it now that he's division adjutant. I guess it's marked somehow that is the dollar, or we have the serial number or something. I guess we can ask about that Saturday. So we won't spend it all in one place. All right, so that's how the monument got moved, and that's how it got put up and where it got put up. Now, needless to say, I don't know why people say needless to say and then they say it anyway. Needed to be said that a lot of us who have been involved in this fight have very mixed feelings about this whole thing. You know, it's in a new great place. It looks great, but in a world like we ought to live in, it wouldn't have ever come to this. So I'm doing one of the speeches at the thing, and that's one of the topics I'm going to talk about, how we should look at and feel about the new spot that it's in. Okay, so you want to talk about the event, or is it Pop-Tart break time? Okay, so Moose isn't here. I'll take over and I'll do my own commercial. But we don't do a commercial. Moose, you've left me. He's dead. Okay, well, you know, hand puppets, I can do that. No, okay, the artist formerly known as Harrison. Did you have to change to your phone or something?
Oh, yes.
What's the deal? I mean, where are you? If you are at the house in Oxford?
No, sir. I'm at my grandparents' house. Came down for fall muster.
Oh, so you're on the coast now?
I will be Saturday.
So you're in Waynesboro now. If you could answer my question.
Yes, sir. I'm in Waynesboro.
Or the outskirts of Waynesboro.
Oh, don't worry. Right now, I'm in the city limits. After the show, okay. I'll be outside of Waynesboro. I'll be on my family's farm.
Well, you know this, but I'll tell everybody else. Back when I was in the logging business in Mississippi with my father-in-law, I hauled a lot of logs to Waynesboro. I think it was Hood Industries was the mill back in that day. I don't know who owns that mill now. This isn't a couple people. Tell me. So anyway, so my question was, do you want to start in talking about the event, or is it Pop-Tart break time?
Oh, we can go into Pop-Tart break time. Let me go get our sponsor for the Pop-Tart break, and then we can go into the event. All right, our sponsor for the Pop-Tart break is past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney.
Surprise!
Past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney Jr. has 3 great books. He has in General Beauregard's defense. Of course, over the past couple years, almost every one of our Confederate heroes have been slandered. General Beauregard's been slandered for about 100 years so far, bless his heart. So our past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney takes it upon himself to go and defend General Beauregard in a book that reads just like a court case, where our past Commander-in-Chief does a brilliant job defending Beauregard. He also has a book on Vicksburg, and I believe the only book on the Yazoo Passing, which is GCB's favorite because he is mentioned in the foreword. So, link is in the chat. Please go support our past Commander-in-Chief and our sponsor for this evening's Pop-Tart break, past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney Jr., and you can also get some great books for the Christmas time season. And we'll be right back after this quick Pop-Tart break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Yay! I know that fella.
I always love that face video.
Okay, let me go. I've been looking through here, and there's a couple of questions here I'll answer before we get into it.
Okay.
Ron Kennedy asked how many people know what a dog trot is. Well, that's a good question. Moose, you know what a dog trot is, don't you? Be honest. I won't hold it against you. Okay, it's a kind of house. When the early settlers would make a one-room house, and everybody would stay in there. When they got a little bit more money or a little bit more time and effort, they would build another little house about 10 feet away from it, and they would connect the middle of it with a porch and then put the roof over it all. So you had a breezeway through the middle where the dog could trot through. That's why it's called a dog trot. It's also known as a double pin dog trot because you had two little houses on each side. You've probably seen what I'm talking about now. Okay. Years later, the ones that survived, they would even go in and close in the dog trot and make like a living room or whatnot. I've been in houses like that as well. And of course, that's different from a shotgun house, which we have a lot more of here in Louisiana. It's where all the rooms are in a row. And they call it a shotgun house because if you opened up all the doors, you just fire a shotgun all the way through the middle and it wouldn't hit anything. So we have a lot. That's kind of more of a Louisiana thing, I think, shotgun houses. So, Ron, so there you go. There's your little architectural history lesson for that. Let's see, there was another one. Ron talking about some place where he collected money. I don't know what mill you're talking about there. So there you go. If you say so, I'll say, yeah. Oh, Cousin Vinny's finally here. There you go.
Hey, Cousin Vinny.
Oh, no, Vinny. The Force House is not a dog trot. It was like a one pin, and then they added it to a two-story house. I don't think there was ever a breezeway or a dog trot on the Forest House. I could be wrong. James Patterson or somebody like that, or even Jason could answer that for you. But from my recollection of being in the house, I'm not sure that it was ever a dog trot. So, Waynesboro. There you go, Ron. Yeah, okay, that lumber mill in Waynesboro. Yeah, got you. Yeah, oh, yeah.
What political?
So Ron's been there too. So how blessed was Waynesboro that Ron and I were both there at one time.
Yeah, we even had a political candidate. Who knew?
Oh, I'm sure y'all got lots of them. I don't know if you're like, we're an off year because we're kind of an off state. So our governors and our state legislatures are on odd years. All those elections in Louisiana will be next year. All we've got this year are congressional and senatorial and some constitutional amendments and some local municipal races. So all our statewide races are the year after the federal races. I don't remember how it was in Mississippi, but I think they were the same as when the federal races were.
Yeah.
But every 4 years to coincide with the presidential race, not the mid-year elections, if I remember right.
We're a bit weird. Our House, or our Congress, my bad, our Senate and our House do have 5-year terms. Our lieutenant governor and our governor and the rest of the big people have 4.
Well, there's some political history theory behind that. That's why the House has 2 and the Senate has 6. And not only does the Senate have 6, but they're staggered, 1/3 of them every 2 years. That way, there's never a complete turnover of the Senate. There's continuity, or what do they want to call it, historical integrity, or whatever. You never have a complete flip of the Senate. At most, you could change 1/3 of them at a time. And so that was the idea behind that. Ernest says West Virginia is 1/3. Yeah, and I'm he's running for the House of Delegates. You go, Ernest.
Yes, congrats. Thank you. We need people to start running. Get some crazy people out of office.
Yeah, there's one state, I'm the old civics teacher here, that has what's called a unicameral legislature. I think it's Kansas. They only have one house. They don't have a House and a Senate. They just have the assembly, and that's it. Which, in reality, I guess that's kind of all you need for a state, especially a state like Kansas where there's really nothing there anyway. They don't let the deer vote. So that's the majority of their population. Let's see what. We elect our lieutenant governor here in Tennessee, collateral duty speaker of this. Yeah. Our lieutenant governor used to also be the president of the Senate, like the vice president is. We took that job away from him. That's why I'd like to be lieutenant governor of Louisiana. All you do is travel around and go to all the festivals, and you get treated like a big shot. Okay, Nebraska, he says. Okay, that's good. Like I say, same thing with that state. Okay, let's talk about the event itself. October the 29th, this year, at 1 p.m. Okay, there's the flyer. Moose will be posting it on the chat page. There's a link at the bottom that takes you to a whole information sheet, the whole FAQ, and a bunch of that stuff, a map of how to get there, where to park, line up, all that kind of stuff is going on. So I thought what we would do is we'll just kind of talk about some of the stuff that's on the FAQ, and I'll try to keep a look at the questions here, and you can too, in case anybody does. Okay, the time I just gave, it'd be best to kind of get there by noon, get your parking spot, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the location, it's the battle. Okay, here's an odd thing, because you can mark things on Google Maps yourself. So if you type in the Battle of Pleasant Hill, it'll show it to you. And the spot it shows is the entrance road to where the monument is and where the little battle park is, right by the highway that goes down there. It's on Highway Louisiana 175. You would actually, most people be coming from the north would come down 175. You can get off of it from I-49 South or Mansfield Road coming out of Shreveport. If you're coming up north on 49, I don't know the exit, but anyway, on the FAQ, it has that, and I also put the actual GPS coordinates on there if you're a person who does that sort of thing. So your latitude and longitude stuff is on there as well, plus the physical address. If you want a chair, bring a chair. We are not going to set up 300 chairs. Okay, we will have a few reserved chairs for the people who are dignitaries that are there to bring greetings or be recognized or doing the official color guard. And we will have marshals there. We'll have it all marked off, and they'll say, okay, here's where you can put up your chairs. Here's where you can stand. We'll have people directing you. And a lot of that is marked on the map that's on this FAQ sheet. All right. If you have trouble, can you bring that map up, Moose? Okay. You see at the very top there in red is the monument, and at the very bottom is where you enter. Okay, there's that green square is parking. The little green arrow is where almost everybody will go in to park. Up at the top, if you have somebody who has trouble walking, you can drive in there, drop them off with their chair, and then keep going around and go to the regular parking spot. We don't have preferred parking. Everybody has the same parking spot. But if somebody has difficulty walking, we have a way you can drop them off. Also, we've been told we'll have a person there with a golf cart running back and forth for the parking lot for people who may, but it's not that far to walk, okay? You know, with my bad knees and stuff, I can do it. So that's the deal about the parking. Okay, floral arrangements. Everybody is encouraged to bring flowers. If you have almost any ceremony any of us ever do, there's the laying of wreaths. You know, you do it at the pilgrimage at headquarters we started. We've always done it Memorial Days at Confederate monuments, everything. We want to cover, if you look at the old pictures of when all these monuments were originally dedicated, they are just covered in flowers. You could hardly see the monument. We want a picture like that. Okay, so the CIC's coming. Jason will be there. He can, you know, the lieutenant commander, any officer that wants to bring an arrangement on their behalf, any UDC chapter, any OCR chapter, the Metcalf, a reenactment unit, I don't care. You can bring flowers to leave. You as an individual can bring flowers to leave. And you don't even have to do it as a group. And I believe just like at the forest thing, the UDC will have some carnations for sale as the plan at the moment for those who would like to buy one to place. So that's going to be a big part of the program is the floral tributes. And so if you want to do that, be sure to bring it on the map. When you look at it, there's an area that says floral arrangement staging. So you can go put it there. When it's time to do that, everybody who's got one can go over there and we'll line you up and you can come to the monument and we will help you place up on the monument. Probably Paul and I and Jason will ask to get actually inside the gate around the monument and we'll place them all up on the monument and cover it up as much as possible. And then when that gets full, hopefully we'll put them around the front of the gate. It'll make an excellent, excellent photograph when we're done. So please do that. Plenty of flowers. All right. Infantry, we need rifles. Not to name any particular event, but at this event, the rifles will be up front. You're laughing. But for those of you we have a spot where they'll be right up front on each side of the monument facing the crowd. So they will have a prime spot. During the ceremony, we'll let them stack rifles and then they can go stand on each side. So they'll have a great view of everything, but the salutes will be fired from right on next to the monument, right up front. And the artillery will be right back there in the same corner as well. So we have some artillery that's coming as well. So please, if you can do infantry, the more the better. Need about 3 rounds. If you're going to do infantry, on the map is where you will line up. Please be there by noon. Right at the very bottom, the kind of the dark blue square down there is where the infantry will line up, and the main color guard, which David Hill is commanding, past Louisiana Division Commander and a member of our camp. He's also has been chairman of the National Graves Committee and stuff like that. A lot of y'all know David. So Colonel Gary Stevens, the commander of the Trans-Mississippi Volunteer Infantry, will be overall command of the infantry. That also happens to be the battalion that Paul Gramblin and I are battalion officers of also. However, we will be otherwise engaged than just doing regular infantry. So please come, bring a rifle. We need you to do that. Also, was asked about flags. If you want to process with a flag, by all means, come do it. Lineup will be down there where the infantry is at noon. Wear a uniform if you got it. If you don't have a uniform, you can march with your flag. That's fine. There'll be a place for y'all to lean your flags up against the cemetery fence during the ceremony, and then there'll be a place for you to stand with your flags while the salute's being fired. So yes, now it says what's acceptable. Any Confederate flag is acceptable. Your division or your camp flag is acceptable, or a reproduction of a particular unit flag, that's fine. But no kind of novelty flags. I don't want a flag with Hank's picture or deer on it, or any, or the one I hate the most is the skeleton where it's saying, oh, the South will rise again. Well, first of all, that's bad theology, because when God resurrects us, we will have a whole heavenly body. We're not going to be skeletons. So there you go. There's my own. Plus, it's just really ugly and stupid looking. And I think kind of disrespectful to our Confederate ancestors that depicts them as, this zombie-like skeleton type creature. Whereas if our ancestors really could get out of the grave, they would seriously be kicking some butt right now. So there you go. That's why it's up to us to do it. So you want to carry a flag, beat rifle, there's the lineup, be there at noon. You'll have a great spot to see the whole ceremony. Flags, flags, flags. We covered all that. All right. As far as where to stay, in Mansfield, Louisiana, there are 3 or 4 hotels. I know some people that have made the reservations already. So there's that. Hotels in Shreveport. The south end of Shreveport is about an hour from the battlefield, depending on how you go. There are some hotels on the south end. There's a lot out on what's west of town called the Pines Road area, where you could just get on the loop and hit I-49 or Mansfield Road and come on down that way. The Bossier hotels are not as convenient because you don't have a direct access that way, unless some of you want to stay at one of the casinos and have at it. There is another town that's fairly close called Natchitoches, Louisiana, and they have some hotels out there right on the interstate. Now, we try not to give Natchitoches a whole lot of business because we've had some problems with the town before, but if that's where you end up staying, that's what you have to do, what you have to do. And we got a really great camp in Natchitoches, and they do a lot of good work there, so that'll be fine. There will be commemorative items for sale. I've already seen them. They will have a cockade made for the occasion that you can buy there and wear. They will have a button with the monument on it with the date and the rededication. And they'll have ladies' fans. On one side is the modern monument, and on the other side are pictures from the monument's history and some of the artwork that's on it. So the UDC will have that set up at a booth. Please bring cash. They don't have internet and all that kind of stuff out there. And I say that's another reason to get there early so you can get your fan and your cockade to wear. I'm also going to try to get some of the cockades down at the infantry lineup. So if people down there want to buy them down there and wear them, they'll be able to do that. They don't have to run up the hill and get one and come back down again. So we'll try to take care of that. On the FAQ sheet, there is the contact for Pam Maddox, who's the UDC president, Chapter 237, and for Margaret Dupree, who's the immediate past, and then some contact stuff for me for SCV reenactors, that kind of stuff. Now, unless you have questions, I'll go look and see what kind of questions we've got in the comments.
I don't have questions. We do have a question from YouTube.
Okay.
You asked, where can donations be sent for flowers?
Okay, I see that one on here too. Okay, there's not really a way that you can donate for somebody else to place the flowers. It's not like some florist is just going to deliver them. This is what people will be bringing themselves. Now, the UDC chapter is setting up a donation that'll be going up on the FAQ thing soon, where you can just donate to help pay for the event. That would be great too. Now, if you know somebody that's going, you can get them to place flowers for you and put your name tag on it and all that sort of thing if you want to do it that way. So that's one thing you can do also. Let's see. Ron says I-49, it's exit 162 to Pleasant Hill. Yeah. Okay. That comes through the town called Rambin, and where that brings you out at a crossroads where the old Pleasant Hill liquor store used to be. And there's an old water tank, and you can see faded a U.S. and a Confederate flag on it. If that's where you come out, you take a right to go to the ceremony, and to the left would take you to the town. So if that's where you come in, you go north, you go right to go up to where the ceremony is, if you're coming that way, Ron. But you've been there before, you know how all that goes. Yes, share this with everybody on your deal that you can.
Please.
Oh yeah. Margaret also said that the UDC chapter will have some challenge coins that they're having made with the monument on them as well for sale there. That would be really cool to have too. So, bring some cash. All the money goes to the additional stuff that's still going to be done. This is not the end of what's being done there. Show the picture again, if you would, of the monument.
Yes.
Okay. Around because that's the original fence that was around it at the courthouse. Out from that, and I don't have this exactly, they do, but there's going to be about a 6-foot cement all the way around it. And then there will be a wrought iron fence, 6 foot high or so around that, kind of to keep the cows out, but also, just a security precaution. And when they do that, they're going to have permanent 2 flagpoles put there, so the flags will be flying on it 24/7 once the whole project is complete. So this money that they're raising now, a lot of that will go to finishing what they want to do on that site and paying for some of the expenses that they've had already. So it all goes really good. Yes, that's true, Paul. We won't be announcing everybody that's laying flowers. If you want your name on the wreath, put it on the wreath. But what we're doing instead, we have a very accomplished musician on a brass instrument that will be playing period-appropriate music while the flowers are being laid, like tenting on the old campground and stuff like that. So I think it'll be very meaningful to have that kind of music being played while the flowers are being laid. And afterwards, of course, we'll leave them all there for a while. So and then we'll move the chairs back too, so everybody can get really great pictures of all for a little while before we let people, if you have a permanent one you bring, you can of course get it back afterwards. But any ones you're going to leave, then we'll arrange those really nice and leave them as long as they look decent or the cows don't eat them. So there you go. Let's see. Are there any other questions? Now, I know one I saw earlier I can talk about. They said that we ought to be going to governmental bodies and seeing if we can get the deeds to these monuments. Yeah, that would be a great thing to do. In this day and age, you would have to be a really, really sympathetic governmental body to do that. I know over in Bossier, the question's been asked, and they have told us, don't worry about it. That monument's not going anywhere. Bossier's a whole lot different than Caddo Parish. So that we're watching that. I know in Alexandria, Daryl can correct me on this, but the monument used to be at City Hall. And then it got moved to the parish courthouse. So now the city says, we want to take the monument down. And the parish is going, it ain't your monument anymore. And UDC says, well, we actually own the monument. So right now it's all in limbo there right now. but you might at least want to do some research, at least under the radar, and find out if there is, in fact, any kind of deed on the land where your monument sits. Or look to the records if they said, at some point, yeah, this is the UDC's or whatever. So, that's one thing you can do, to kind of at least keep if you ever need it. Let's see.
Is there a website for donations for this event?
Okay. They are setting up, it's like donationbox.org, I think is the website. They're setting it up now. And as soon as they give me that link, I will add it to the FAQ that I have posted the link to. So at some point in the near future, when you go to that, there will be the donation link will be on there.
Yeah, of course, that will be on our Facebook.
The links on that flyer. It's gonna come out on the Telegraph and our division email in the next couple of days. It's on my Facebook. I put it out. The division has put it on their Facebook page, and I'm encouraging everybody that sees the message to share it. Okay, Pam's asking yes. I'm not sure what she's asking yes to. Answering yes. Maybe it's to the donation thing I'm talking about. Yes, Alan, Bossier Parish is like, well, it's not like another state. It's just like another time. So, of course, the one benefit, we're going to have a show on this later, is there was two monuments there. One was for the United Confederate Veterans Convention in 1936, and that became property of the SCV, and so did the time capsule that's underneath it. And later this month, we'll be doing a show about that time capsule and when we opened it up and all the good stuff that was in it. So be looking for that.
Yes, make sure to be looking for that episode when it comes out.
And Ron's wanting you to talk about them being on next week too.
Oh, I'll get our chief towards the end. We're about to wrap it up, and I'll remind everybody.
Yeah. So any other questions about this event or just questions? I'll either know the answer or I can make something really convincing of.
He's really talented at it.
So please be there. We want to really make a statement with this event, how much we still care, because it's not just about this monument. It's about the future of our heritage. And this is one of the pieces of the larger puzzle. This is part of the strategy, is that to show people when we do keep something that's ours, that we show up for it and that we do treasure it and we do respect it and that we do turn out for the events that help keep our heritage healthy and alive. If we don't care, who's going to?
Amen.
So be a part of history. Be there.
Yes, please be there. Again, support any event that you can get. You have to support each other's, and definitely for monument rededications.
Vinny, why can't you be there? You can't leave New Jersey. Are you under a court order or something? He says he can't leave New Jersey. Why? Thanks, Ron. We worked ourselves to death and had some very, shall we say, unpleasant times over the years with this monument stuff. The vegan police, they don't have any power. They're all soy boys. You can bust out of there.
They in New Jersey, they might have
Vinny,
power.
You say your crime's putting milk in your pumpkin latte. Drinking pumpkin latte is a crime. You try to order some. I could see you going into Cliff's Corner, downtown Blanchard, and say, "Do you have a pumpkin latte?" Boy, you're not from around here, are you? Okay. Okay, I'll find you a flight. We'll find a place to put you up. That's not a problem. If you can get down here. If you start now, you might can make it hitchhiking. Because, yeah, they can help you with that ankle bracelet, Vinny. Put on you by the vegan police. Yeah, we'll get him a can of French Market coffee with chicory in it, Ron. He'll have he can certainly work up the speed to come down here on his own with Super Blast, that kind of caffeine.
I was about to say, drink about 5 shots of espresso every hour, Vinny, and you can run down here.
You know that old joke. You probably told it a million times about that boy whose dog drank gasoline. Do you know that one?
I do. I think I talked about it in high school, or I heard it in high school.
Yeah. Where he drank gasoline and ran around and he died, and the guy said, well, I guess he ran out of gas. The rooster joke is better, but I can't tell it on Facebook. Yep. I'll take you when you come down here. Just remind me to tell you the rooster joke. So, all right, folks. Well, I appreciate y'all letting me on tonight. And I did some of that walk across Dixie, Vinny. You do it. I'll come walk some with you. I did 20 miles. A lot of us did 20 miles at least or more. So thanks for having me on, and I hope to see everybody there. You like the phrase I have now, history awaits you, be there. I will bring up another phrase that I came up with when we started doing the sesquicentennial events. Each year, when we announced the event for that year, the phrase was, if you are Southern, you will be there.
Oh, I like that one. Well, speaking of events, I would not be doing my job as the producer of SCV Chat if I didn't plug our historic coming up this Monday, 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time. Our host for that evening will be the legend, the AOT Councilman Carl Jones. And our special guest for the 100th episode of SCV Chat will be none other than Ben Jones, a.k.a. Crazy Cooter from the Dukes of Hazzard. So, please, this episode, get all this information out there, people. Make sure to tune in on our Facebook page after we go off the air to get all the information about the monument rededication and the link and the flyer. And, of course, make sure to support any Confederate event you can this weekend. And make sure that if you have Camper Division projects like to talk about live on Look Around the Confederation, please email me at scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com and make sure to send your news, your pictures, short videos, and write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you'll be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. I have been your host for the evening, Moose. Let's all give a big round of applause for our guest for the evening, Pastor the Long Range Chuck McMichael. And without further ado, I will see you guys Monday. And remember, stay Southern, my friends. All right. Without further ado, see ya.
The 100th episode, a milestone in the television world, a tradition dating back to the 1950s. When a television show reaches their 100th episode, that's when they can sell their rights to their show to broadcasters for reruns. That's when a television show can really start making money. While here at SCV Chat, we aren't a traditional television show and we aren't in it to make money, we do care about tradition. So join us on October 17th at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time and tune in for the 100th episode of SCV Chat. We will have our guest host, Carl Jones, for the evening. We will also have one of the biggest guests in SCV Chat history. He's an actor, a celebrity, a former politician, one of the most famous defenders of Confederate heritage, past Chief of Heritage Defense of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Ben Jones, also known as Crazy Cooter of the Dukes of Hazzard. Make sure to clear your schedule. Make sure you are there for the biggest and most historic episode of SCV Chat. SCV Chat 100 will be live October 17th on Facebook and YouTube at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tune in and experience history.